Alright lad, how's it going? Welcome back to I Went to Reading Once, where we talk about the best indie music, because I went to Reading once, so I believe I know what the best indie music is. We're back. Been a little bit of time, been about 2 months, my apologies, but lockdown's got me running out of ideas. What's new with me? We're in the garden, getting in that vitamin D, bit of a more peaceful setting. I've got a microphone now, so hopefully get some better quality sound on these videos. We're also drinking a little bevy, Strongbow. Not sure about the new packaging, I'll be honest with you. You've replaced something very near and dear to my heart there. However, yeah, still tastes the same. Today, we are going to be doing my top 10 favourite indie albums of all time. It was quite tough putting this list together. I couldn't fit every single artist on here. And I've done a rule, only one album from each artist to make it a bit fairer. So whoever your favourite indie artists and their albums are, let me know in the comments down below, especially if I miss any off. We have a few honourable mentions to begin, because I couldn't fit all of my favourite albums in the top 10. So we're going to go through them quickly now. So first up, honourable mention number 1 is The Kooks with Inside In, Inside Out. Cracking album from the mid-2000s. The Kooks are just noughties indie music, summed up really. Second up, we've got Torches by Foster the People, their first album. Just a cracking album, pumped up kicks. One of the greatest indie songs of all time. Kasabian, for crying out loud, my favourite album of theirs. Next up we have Oasis, What's the Story, Morning Glory. Didn't make it into my top 10, because I didn't know how indie it was, and I didn't know if it would be controversial putting it in the top 10. We also have Royal Blood by Royal Blood, again, amazing album. Sam Fender with Hypersonic Missiles, and the 1975 with A Brief Inquiry. However, as the time of recording, Notes is being released in 4 days time, so there's a possibility that may move into my top 10. But shall we get into the top 10? I think we shall. They're in no particular order. It's a top 10, but it's not like 10 to 1, because I couldn't really place them. Number 1 is Tom Grennan with Lighting Matches, his debut album. I think it's a brilliant album. I'm going to say that about all of them on this list, but I do think it's a brilliant album. Found What I've Been Looking For is a brilliant song, used on FIFA, used on Sky Sports for the footy. It's just a cracking song. You got other songs on the album like Sober, Barbed Wire, Royal Highness, Make 'Em Like You. Make 'Em Like You, I was really disappointed that wasn't released as a single, because I think it is probably one of his best songs. But it brings back a lot of memories for me. It's a brilliant debut album, and I'm really loving his new stuff, so hoping for a lot more from you, Tom. Second up, we have Sundara Karma with Youth Is Only Other Fun in Retrospect. This album to me just brings back so many memories. They were the first indie band I ever saw live, and it was a brilliant show. It was fantastic. Songs like She Said, Explore, Vivian, Olympia, Happy Family. I'm trying to remember what was on the album, not EPs now. But yeah, no, those songs just absolutely, brilliant. And when the second album came around, I had high expectations, but I feel like this album is just so solid, nothing can really beat it. Number 8, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Liam Gallagher with As You Were. Now, I put As You Were instead of Why Me, Why Not. Why? Because I think As You Were is one of the best debut solo albums of any artist ever. Honestly, I feel like people had some real expectations for his solo album, and he just blew them out the water, second to none. I know his ego probably doesn't need feeding anymore, however, I love As You Were. Songs like For What It's Worth, Greedy Soul, Paper Crown, and then honestly my favourite song is Chinatown, and I think it is criminally underrated how good that song is. It's just bloody fantastic. If you're wanting to listen to a new song during this quarantine period, Chinatown, Liam Gallagher. Number 7 is The Hunter with 100, their debut album. Quite a few debut albums on here, I will admit. It is such a nostalgic album to me. I started listening to The Hunter when they had about 6,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and the only singles they had were Bonfire and She's Casual, and they are just fantastic songs. If you're having a prees or anything, cracking songs if you all know the lyrics, because they're songs you can just shout at the top of your lungs. But then the whole album is just brilliant. You've got We Could Be, You and Me, Piece by Piece, just a whole array of fantastic songs compiled into one album that you can just listen to over and over again, in my opinion. So number 6 on this list are probably the most iconic British indie, like pure indie band out there, and that is Catfish and the Bottommen. They got a lot of stick online, saying all their songs sound the same. It's not necessarily unfounded. However, I feel like Balcony, which is the album I picked, is just brilliant. Their debut album, yet again, is just such a fantastic album. It's an album that, when I first listened to it, I went, I like this immediately. Cocoon and Kathleen, brilliant songs, just iconic. They're probably the two most popular songs on that album. But then the whole album, again, there isn't a bad song, and it brings back so many memories. I've seen it 3 times now, and they're brilliant. They're really good live. Once this is all over, make sure you go see Catfish and the Bottommen whenever you can. Number 5, I feel like I had to put an Arctic Monkeys album on, without a shadow of a doubt, and I've gone for whatever people say I am. That's what I'm not. It's just such an iconic album, in my opinion. I've got some artwork of the album cover on my wall, and it's just a fantastic album. Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, banger. Mardi Bum, banger. When the Sun Goes Down, banger. It's a brilliant album, and I feel like when people talk about the old Arctic Monkeys, this is the album that they're really referring to. I don't think it's AM. I think this is the best album that the Arctic Monkeys have ever put out. At number 4, we have a fantastic band from Northern Ireland, I believe. It is Two Door Cinema Club, and I've gone for Tourist History for it because I really like False Alarm. I think False Alarm is a fantastic album. However, when you're looking at how iconic an album is and what truly makes an album great, Tourist History has it all. So you have Undercover Martin on there, What You Know, Something Good Can Work, I Can Talk, Come Back Home. Just so many amazing tunes. And if you want to have about half an hour drive and you want an album that's going to keep you happy the whole way through that drive, stick Tourist History on. You will not be disappointed. It is a fantastic album. Number 3 is the newest album on this list, and it's Circa Waves with Sad Happy. I saw them at Newslang just before this all happened, the last gig I went to, and it was the album release for this show. And some of their new stuff is absolutely brilliant. Jacqueline, Move to San Francisco, Sad Happy, Be Your Drug, even Bad and Bruised that they brought out recently as a single. Just an excellent album. It's a good concept as well, half the album being like sad theme song, half the album being happy. Don't know if it worked. I can't tell which are sad and which are happy, where the line is drawn. However, I think it is just a brilliant album. Obviously, Young Chasers has a very special place in my heart. It was one of the first indie albums I really listened to, cycling to school and all that sort of stuff. Sad Happy just has some iconic tunes on it, and I feel like they will go down as some of the greatest indie songs of all time. I'm saying it right now. I know I said at the start that this wasn't in any order, but coming up are my 2 favourite indie albums and albums of all time. In at number 2, just missing out the number 1 spot, is The Vaccines with Combat Sport. And that album, when it first came out, I absolutely loved it. I think I saw them twice on that tour. I saw them at a Newsstand and I went to see them in Southampton, and they were just brilliant. And then even when they were releasing all the songs as singles, the songs were just brilliant each time they brought them out. I Can't Quit, banger. Nightclub, banger. You've got a real mix on that album of calm songs and then absolute tunes you can just sink your teeth into while you're singing them. The only thing I think that keeps it off number 1 was that All My Friends Are Falling in Love was not included on that album. They brought out a couple months later, and honestly, that's a brilliant song. And I feel like if they had included that, then this may have pipped number 1. Honestly, it was hard to choose the Vaccines album. English Graffiti is brilliant. What did you expect from the Vaccines? Again, fantastic. But Combat Sports is just a fantastic album. Absolutely brilliant. Can't say a bad word about it, in all honesty. And then at number 1, we do have my favourite album of all time. It is The Wombats with Glitterbug, and I'll tell you for why. The Wombats have really broken some of the barriers in terms of being indie and then going into the mainstream. Not to any fault of their own. Obviously, you've got Kill the Director, which was used as the In-Betweeners theme tune. And then you just have so many other songs that have just made it into the mainstream. However, compared to Love, Loss and Desperation, Glitterbug is such a more well-rounded album. You have My Body is a Weapon, Emoticons, Pink Lemonade, Give Me a Try, Be Your Shadow, and then the song, which is probably one of their best songs, maybe the best song. They still play it as their closing song to this day when you go see them live, and that is Great Tragedy. That is excellent song. Genuinely, Glitterbug is just such a well-rounded album. It just makes you happy the whole way listening through, and I think I'm listening to it editing this video, to be honest, because it is that good, and making this list has made me want to listen to it yet again. So that is my number 1, Wombats, Glitterbug. That's my top 10 indie albums of all time. It was really hard putting together that list. I'm sure maybe in a month's time it might change. And I mean, there's some brilliant bands out there who haven't actually released albums yet, so I cannot wait to hear them. What did you think of my list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have I missed any albums out? Let me know. Comments down below. If you have enjoyed this, whack like and subscribe. I might upload again soon. Who knows? Who knows? But until that time, when I see you again, stay safe, lad. Have a good one.